Welcome to my first ever baking video. I'm going to be making cinnamon rolls today. I am starting off with a 3/4 cup of warm milk. I like to use oat milk. You can use any milk. It works regardless. Please ignore the way I say milk. I'm listening to it. I know it's bad. The milk temperature should be at a baby bottle temperature. You don't want it to be too hot or else it could ruin the yeast. You definitely don't want it to be cold because then it won't rise. It's helpful to have your measuring spoons already laid out. That way everything goes quicker and you're not scrambling to get stuff. Make sure you're whisking your yeast into your milk mixture really well. After this, you're going to see me grab a 1/4 cup of sugar and I'm going to add some of it to that yeast. This helps the yeast become more foamy and rise better, so I just add a little bit to the mixture. And then you're gonna need a 1/4 cup of butter, and it already has the measurement on there for you, so that's super easy. And you're gonna wanna just soften your butter. I accidentally melted it a little too much. Oh, and also our eggs are supposed to be at room temperature, and I forgot that too, so it's just chilling under some hot water. The recipe also calls for an egg and an egg yolk, and I must have missed that when I was looking at it. So this recipe that I made does not have an extra yolk, but you want to make sure to add that in there. And just a reminder that you want to have your butter and your cream cheese sitting out probably a few hours before you start baking so that it softens naturally. And queens and kings clean as they go, and they restock their baking supplies. You want to make sure that you're measuring out your flour to the exact measurement. You don't want overfill or underfill. I apologize for the wobbling of the camera. I've never done a baking video before, so we learn as we go and we don't judge. Look at my beautiful yeast. That's exactly what you want. You want it foamy and you want it to rise. It was perfect. And now you just mix it for 10 to 15 minutes. If you don't have a stand mixer, then you gotta do it by hand, but that's okay. All right, the hard part is over. Now you get to the filling and then the frosting after that. And these are the easy things, especially the filling. So you want softened butter. Again, I think I melted the butter a little too much. It just mixes better when it's slightly melted. And it's just brown sugar and cinnamon. You can see that I'm not doing very accurate measurements with the cinnamon. I kind of freehand a lot of stuff that I feel like doesn't need to be completely accurate, and if you really like cinnamon, then you can totally add more. I don't know what the deal is with my brown sugar, but it is very lumpy. But we're just gonna crush all those little bits out. If you have that, it's totally normal, it's fine. Just go with the flow. It's been about 10-15 minutes. While I was making the filling, my dough was being kneaded, and you just wanna kind of squish it, poke your finger in it, see if it bounces back. If it bounces back, then it's ready to just sit and rise. I let my dough rise for about an hour and a half. I don't have a whole lot of counter space, so I am cleaning off my oven so that I can roll my dough and make it into the shape that it needs to be. Don't judge me. Don't come for me. We don't judge. Also, you totally do not need this much flour. I wasn't expecting the sifter to throw this much flour on the oven, but it's fine. It worked out, but you really don't need that much. A little bit of slow-mo action. Very nice. Very demure. Very mindful. Now you just roll your dough out into a rectangle shape the best you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. This dough was extremely stretchy. Maybe it's because of the missing egg yolk. I'm not sure. But I got it to work. It just took a little time. As you can see, I'm really stretching it out there. You don't have to do this, but I like to wet the edges so that when I'm rolling up the cinnamon roll, it does stick and it doesn't unroll itself. So it just makes it a lot easier. And then you just dump all your filling on there, and you want to spread this out best you can. It does not have to be perfect. It's going to end up melting and spreading itself out anyway. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so this kind of bothers me, but it's fine. We got there eventually. I've never tried to roll the filling into the dough like this before, but it seemed to work and have some sort of effect. You want to get this as tight as you can. I think it makes for better looking rolls at the end of it, but maybe I'm just imagining things. And then when you get it all rolled up, you kind of just want to squish it out, make it as even as possible. And then once you get it on a cutting board, you want to pre-measure where you're going to cut. This makes for more even rolls. And then I started in the middle. You don't have to do that, but that's just what I like to do. And I definitely don't like the floss trick. I think it's stupid. As long as you have a sharp knife and you go slowly and you don't squish the roll, it should come out looking perfect. I also don't really use the ends because I don't like the way they look when they're baked. So you can get rid of them or you can cook them separately. This milk mixture was not part of the recipe. It's just something that I came up with because some people like to put heavy whipping cream in their rolls to help them rise. And I can put the recipe up if you want to try it. I think it turned out really nice. And then you just cover them with saran wrap again, and you want to put them in a warm place so that they can rise, just like the dough had to rise. Let them rise for about 30 minutes to an hour, and then you want to pop them in the oven. So I did not make the correct recipe for the frosting either. I doubled the recipe just because I don't know what I'm going to do with an extra half of cream cheese. Vanilla bean paste is not part of the frosting recipe, but I did add it in here. And the maple syrup is something I added to the recipe that I found just because I think it adds that extra touch to the cinnamon rolls. I am a big fan of Trader Joe's bourbon vanilla bean paste. It's super good. I add it to my cookies. So basically I just double vanilla each time I make anything that requires vanilla. It makes it so good. We measure vanilla with our hearts. And don't forget to scrape the sides of your bowls so you make sure that you're incorporating all of the ingredients. If you have leftover frosting, you can use it for whatever you want, and you don't have to double the recipe like I did. My brain just works differently, I guess. And there's the rolls. Not sure why they look like that. I think I put them in too small of a pan, or maybe I added too much milk and they just got too poofy. I'm not really sure. They tasted amazing though. So even though they looked kind of funky, I think this is the best batch of cinnamon rolls that I've ever made. Look at it. It's amazing. It's beautiful. And here's your bite. Thanks for watching, guys.